One more short overview on membrane clarinets. I've found a few videos and instructions about this wonderful instrument and how you can make it, but there is not so much information to this topic. All others in general use the same blueprint without any variations, and it seems to me that it's not ideal. But firstly, let's take a look on this main blueprint and how and why it works. Here we have two chambers, one inside another. The air flows into the first one through this side T-pipe. After it fills the external pipe, the membrane goes up and begins to vibrate, producing the sound. The air flows into the internal tube, called secondary chamber, where we can regulate the tone height with the usual play holes. Now, let us look on this one more time, and let me explain why it's not the best layout. We actually have some main parts here, and firstly, we have two chambers. Should I make them one inside another? In general, no. Then we have a membrane, and we also shouldn't make it on the top of the instrument or make it round. Finally, we don't need this T-tube at all. As far as I know, some people guess it's more comfortable, but still not necessary. Keeping this in mind, I'm going to explain the history of my own attempts in this project. Unlike the usual design, I tried to use a V-tube to make it more physiological and user-friendly. But then, I thought that it isn't important at all where we actually have a membrane. I replaced the membrane to the side tube and the input hole to the top of the instrument so that the common layout have transformed like this. I had to use curved tubes, which are extremely difficult to assemble, but now I could cut the side tube so short as I wish. As a result, it didn't look like a side tube anymore, but like a tiny bulge close to the top. And now I'm going to make a small digression because this layout is almost similar to the structure of the Native American flutes, which are becoming more popular in the last years. Here we could see the same two chambers and a tiny duct called windway between them, simulating the space under the membrane. The only difference between the Native American flute and the membrane clarinet is the sound production method. In the first case, we have a traditional flute using the splitting edge, while our clarinet is a modern reed instrument using a piece of rubber instead of usual reed. On this base, I've created a new layout for a membrane clarinet, simulating the layout of a Native American flute. Here we have the same two chambers divided by a wall, two holes on the top, and a windway covered by a piece of rubber. Experimenting with the design, I found out that the secondary hole must be lower than the primary one, like the secondary tube in the usual design is always lower than the primary tube. Using this design, we can now make a membrane clarinet out of only one direct tube, using any diameter and any length. For a membrane, I use cleaning gloves attached with double-sided tape. A wall between two chambers is easy to make from thermoglue.